Hello and welcome to this episode of Women in Mobility. Our guest for today is from the logistics industry, which connects all forms of transportation that we at Mobility Outlook cover. With an impressive ability to engage with colleagues at all levels, Lisa Park is known for delivering her objectives in a professional and friendly manner. Lisa, welcome to Women in Mobility, brought to you by Mobility Outlook.
Thank you very much.
Lisa, wonderful to know that you're qualified in language and then you got into logistics industry. What motivated you to pursue your education in interpretation and translating French and Spanish?
So when I was a little girl, I had lots of opportunity to travel. My father was an expat in the Middle East when I was very young, and I always really enjoyed going to different countries and meeting different people and speaking to different people. So when I joined education and started to learn languages, it very quickly became my favourite subject. So pursuing an education in interpreting and translating at that time felt like an obvious choice for me because it combined my love for travel. It gave an opportunity for me to study in different countries, and it also combined my love for language and for communicating with people. So that's what led me to choose the course.
Okay, that's interesting. And what is the key driver for you to get into the logistics, which is a male-dominated industry? I think out of 123 or 25 million people, only 2% of women.
Yeah, and if I look back on it, I don't think that really crossed my mind when I was choosing the industry. If I'm honest with you, I don't think I even really recognised that it was a particularly male-dominated industry. But what really attracted me to the logistics and shipping at the time in particular was the fact that it was a global organisation or a global industry. It was an industry that connected people from all over the world. And it was an industry that would give me an opportunity to travel and to work with people from different cultures and different backgrounds. So I don't think I really thought about the fact that it was male dominated at the time. It just, for me, it was the global element of it and the opportunity to connect with people from all over the world that I found really attractive. So that then I started to look for organisations which would welcome graduates and give a good solid introduction into the industry, and that's how I ended up choosing Maersk in the end. So that's what led me to that decision.
What are the key challenges during the initial days of your career?
Initial days, yeah, I think lots of graduates come out of university and you sort of think that you're ready to change the world, and then somehow you come down to earth with a bump and realise that you've still got a lot to learn. And I would say that logistics and shipping at that time as well was still quite a manual industry. A lot of the work that you do on the front line, the important work that you do, can be quite repetitive and manual and very process driven. So I think for me that was a bit of a realization when I first got into my first placement, was to understand that it wasn't always super exciting. Some of it you really had to learn from the ground up and really understand process and really understand how things fit together. So, that was a bit of a challenge at the outset, but I think that looking back, it was such a crucial part and a crucial start to my career, because it really allowed me to learn the business from the ground up so that I could really understand the operation itself and really understand our customers and what they needed. And I think it's really served me well over the years. So yeah, those early days were a lot of learning, a lot of engaging with people around about me to learn about how things worked. But looking back on it, I think it was a great start to what's been a really good career.
Okay, so when did you step into the leadership role?
Yeah, so my first leadership role actually came as a result of Maersk acquiring P&O Nedlloyd. So we acquired who was our biggest competitor at the time. And as a result of that, the team grew considerably, and there was a leadership opportunity presented itself for me. So that was my very first role in leadership, and it was in sales at the time. It was very challenging because, you can imagine you're integrating two very large organisations and a team of people, many of whom had worked for P&O Nedlloyd for many, many years and were very, very experienced. I was still fairly young at this time. And, it's quite difficult to bring together two different cultures of organisations and, really galvanise the team behind a common goal. So it was quite a baptism, I would say, as a first leadership role. But one that was actually an experience that I took a lot away from afterwards and learned a lot from. And I think you go into leadership thinking it's one thing, and then you suddenly, you start to evolve during your leadership career and realise that it's less about delivering tasks and it's more about the people around about you. So that was quite a journey at the time. So it was a challenge, but it was a really good one, and I look back very fondly on that opportunity because I think it gave me an opportunity to learn a lot.
So you had a lot of support systems during the initial days of your leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. I was very lucky to work under a very strong leader myself. I've been lucky to have many good leaders over my career, and that the leader I had at that point in time was very good at helping me understand that transition from being an individual contributor to being a leader of others, and that transition that you have to go through where you realise that your value is no longer measured by what you produce as an individual, but it's suddenly measured by what you produce as a team and what you can get out of other people. So I was very lucky to have a very good leader around me then, and also some other mentors who were able to help me make that transition, which is really crucial for any first time leader. I think it's a real shift in your value system internally, and it's something that you really have to get through if you're going to unlock leadership capability.
What is your approach to leadership? Will it be you will be rigid or flexible?
I think I would say that's changed over the years. I think, when I first went into leadership, I was very task focused and, very focused on outcomes and task-based engagement with my team. As the years have evolved, and obviously I'm leading more senior people now as well, so that changes as you become, as your leadership position changes over the years. I think different approaches can be right in different moments. I would say now I'm very much a leader who acts much more as a coach and a guider to my team. I like to provide them with guardrails and with direction, but then to allow them the freedom and the flexibility to use their own skills to come up with ideas and solutions and how they drive forward their own teams. So I would say I'm very flexible, but when there's challenging times, if there's a crisis or if there's something very difficult, there are sometimes where you have to take the wheel and to be very directive, and that's sometimes what the team look to you for as well. So I think it's important to be able to shift depending on the circumstances in which you're leading in. But I find you get the most out of the team when you allow them the space and the opportunity to really showcase their own skills. That's when you really get the most out of a team together.
Yeah. What's your view on gender diversity? Many companies are talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super passionate about it. I think that it's women make up half of the population of the world. So in terms of talking about diversity in teams, the very first thing I think we have to get right is having the right gender diversity. Because I think not only is it good for society, every one of us involved in any organisation will be, a husband or a father to a girl, or, have females in their family and their wider network who, from a society perspective, we want to see them thrive. But also from a business perspective, you really get the most out of a team and an environment where you can have very diverse views. But I think that gender diversity is only one part of that journey. It's one of the things that I love about the work that I do and the organisation I work in is that we are very diverse in other ways. We have huge diversity in terms of, nationality, background, religion, every possible corner of the world we have people working with us. And I think that when you're able to bring together people from different backgrounds, the diversity of thought that you're able to generate in a team environment is something really special. So not only is it a good thing for society, but it's a really good thing for business, because you get your best ideas when you have different sorts of people in a room who can challenge each other and who can come at a problem from different perspectives. So yeah, I think it's a huge topic. At Maersk, it's a very big topic. We're very passionate about diversity of all sorts. And in my own team, I always really to say to the leaders who work for me is that if there's an opportunity to bring in someone diverse into the team, then we should take that opportunity, because we can all learn a lot from different backgrounds and different views. So yeah, it's something that I passionately drive.
Okay, okay. So you have two children, and then your position calls for a lot of travel. How do you strike a balance between work and life?
Yeah, I mean, I think any working mum, and hopefully any working parent, has the same challenge. I am, as you said, I have two children who are a little bit older now. They're 8 and 12, but I've held quite senior roles that require a lot of travel since they've been very small, and that requires a lot of support. So I would say that I don't do it on my own. I have a very good ecosystem that I've built around me to help me. I have a husband who's very supportive and flexible. I've been lucky enough to live near family for many years who were able to support as well. And I think one of the crucial things is that, as a woman, especially trying to build a career, one of the things that you can do that holds you back is thinking that you have to do it all. I think one of the most important things you can do is to seek help and take help, and understand that it takes a village to raise a family, and that if everyone comes to that with something to offer, then you should take the help that's available to you. So that's what I do in one hand. And on the other hand, I think that it's also important to set boundaries, both on the personal side and on the professional side. I really, some very simple things like traveling on the weekend, I try to keep my weekends very precious. Those are definitely family time, and I will avoid business travel at all costs really at the weekend, because that time is very precious to me. So it's creating some sort of boundaries around which you've got some no-go areas, so that you retain that the importance of that family time, but at the same time you can deliver in your professional life as well. So I think it's a combination of having a good support system and ecosystem, as well as being strong enough to create your own boundaries around how you operate.
Support system is the key for working women. I agree. What's your advice for the young women aspirants?
I think that the most important thing you can do when you enter into a career is to follow something which fires up your heart and fires up your energy. I think really think about where you can add value, and what sort of organisation or what sort of industry aligns with your own personal values. I think if you do that, then it makes the future challenges that you might face a lot easier to overcome, because you don't feel you're sacrificing yourself. And I would say the second thing is to as a young woman, maybe you're not in a position yet to have a family, but when the time comes to have a family, and when you think about setting up your life, is to think about that ecosystem around you as well, because it's really important to have people around you, and to choose a partner in life who's able to support you as well. So I think if you're entering into an organisation, come into one that you think you can add value to, with the energy that you have behind it, and then as you grow in your career, make sure that you have people around that you can help support you and build you up.
And finally, what's your view on the new mobility? There are a lot of talks about electric, hydrogen, etc. What do you think about these things?
I think it's really exciting. At Maersk, we're really passionate about sustainability. We're making a lot of investment now in electric vehicles, and also looking at alternative fuels, biofuels, for our vessels and potentially our air freight as well. I think it's absolutely crucial that we do that as our commitment to the planet, and for our children and their children, to make sure that there's a world here for them to enjoy. I think the speed at which some of the e-mobility is becoming available to the wider population is fantastic as well. The way in which e-vehicles have progressed just in the last couple of years is so impressive. So I can't wait to see what else is to come. And yeah, I think it's all good, and I think it's a really exciting time for mobility overall.
Yeah. Lisa, it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time, and thank you for participating in the Women in Mobility. Thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you for having me.